everyone. I'm Katie Nobles, and thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to be introducing you to Liner Legal's Disability Warrior of the Month for September, Billy Clark. Billy's an author, recently publishing his very first book of poems about life living with cerebral palsy. Billy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a huge honor and, quite frankly, a dream come true. So thank you
Oh,
for having me on the show today.
absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time. Why don't we jump into talking about the book then? Why don't you just tell me first a little bit about it?
Okay, well, the book is a small collection of poetry. It's basically a first-person perspective on what it's like having a disability. But it's not just about being disabled. It's sort of how I did it is I made the disability a backdrop
Mm-hmm.
to aspects of my life. So I discuss, my love life a little bit. I discuss what it was like going to school, um, the mental health aspect, which I think drastically gets underplayed.
Can you read us a poem from the book? I know you have one right next to you here.
Absolutely. The book is called The Ever So Accurate Tales of a Not So Average Man, The Testament of a Modern Disabled Man. And what I'm reading to you now is a small excerpt of one of the poems specifically about me being disabled. Tragedy does not define us. How we choose to face it does. Do we flee from the all-encompassing shadow of dread, or do we stand strong and charge forward to slay the shadow? These are questions I ask myself every moment of my life, for I have lived mine behind the bars of an invisible cage. It is an invisible cage because while I am blessed to walk, talk, and speak,
Wow, so you really share the emotional aspect of that experience.
yeah, I thought it important to, like I said, really give a person a transparent perspective, not only for people with disabilities, also to read it and to be like, I relate to this.
So have you always been a writer, or is this a new endeavor for you?
I've always been a writer. Writing's my first passion. I'm also into politics. I've been politically active for a number of years. I love the legal world, so I almost went to school to be a lawyer, but I decided against it. So I basically I do a little bit of everything. But advocacy and writing are my two main passions.
Tell me a little bit more about your advocacy work.
My main focus has been through, politics. I've worked on Governor DeWine's campaign. I've ran several campaigns myself. I worked on the HRC committee for the county at one point. I was on the executive committee for a political party, and I of course I use that as sort of an outlet to make these issues present. But a lot of my work locally here in Mahoney County is based through the County Board of Duty and sort of using that as a vehicle to do some freelance advocacy projects.
So you're
So
really fighting for awareness and trying to raise awareness from within.
yes, yes, because that's sort of my approach to it is we have a system that has its flaws. It has its many flaws, and a lot of people get kind of caught up in the holes in it. They fall in between the cracks. And I think if we're vocal about it, if we're loud, if we're proud, and we follow the framework of a lot of other civil rights movements, we can achieve a lot of things within the system. But, naturally, some things out of the system need to occur to make those changes happen as well.
You sound like such a busy man. How did you find time to write a whole book of poetry?
Corona.
Uh-huh.
um, Corona kinda, I had plans. I'm a recent first generation graduate of Youngstown State, and
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. I was like, well, since I don't have a job, why don't I make my job? Why don't I employ a staff of 5 people, transfer my poetry into a book? And that's kind of how that started.
So what's next for you? Do you plan on writing more?
I am writing the second book, you know, in the series of 3. I want this to be a series of 3 poetry books that kind of followed me through my life.
When you hear the words or the term disability warrior, what does that mean to you?
Well, for me, it's a very thought-evoking Word. Ironically, I come from a family of people that served in the military, and growing up, I ironically wanted to do that. Um, but just, I obviously cannot, despite trying to sign up 7 times. It really highlights that even though your dreams may not take the shape you thought they would, sometimes the world has a funny way of working out, and you may not be able to be, in my case, a soldier, like a physical soldier, but you can be a soldier in, fighting for other people's rights. So yeah, that's kind of what I take away from that. It's not only a huge honor and a bit of a dream come true because I'm a huge fan of, a lot of what your firm does and what you guys do. So I'm kind of nerding out, if you will. um, but that's kind of why I seem a little nervous. It goes to show you that you can manifest whatever you want in life.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with us. Where can everybody order the book of poetry?
Yes, it's on Amazon. Amazon Prime. They can order it via that, or they can contact me with my email that I will provide you if they want a signed copy, because a lot of people have want signed copies. Thank you, and like I said, this has been a huge honor, and I appreciate you taking the time to interview me.
Thanks so much, Billy.